is your hangout. Hey, Wagon, what's happening, Republicans? We're back at it again with yet another hangout. And let me tell you, Lil Mantharini, absolutely amazing. It's your girl, the Media Messiah, Ziza Hashim, giving you the lowdown on all things entertainment. All matters film. And we're at a Netflix event right here at KICC. It's all about the African folktales reimagined. I believe at any given moment in time in your life, I tell you a story, kwa fireplace somewhere with either your grandmother, your grandfather, ule uncle mwenye ako na mastori mingi ama hata auntie. And today we're reimagining all those stories from 6 creatives from all over Africa. We're going to get to chat to them and also chat with your favorite celebrities. So let's go, let's get it. Today I have one of the filmmakers whose film is going to be launching right here at the African Folktales Reimagined rather, and he's coming all the way from Tanzania. How are you doing, Walton Zeng?
Aris, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Jamani, we're super excited and we can't wait to see your film. But let's start with the fact that you started producing, or rather working on several films in South Africa, but then you went back to Tanzania to mentor young creatives. How important was it for you to go back home?
It was very important. I left Tanzania to go to South Africa in order to be a filmmaker, you know, and I spent time there connecting, networking, until I found that I was in a good enough place to go back home. But what I realized quickly when I was home is like, how do I, you know, find that community, like the same mentality in regards to like filmmaking. And one way to do it is by mentoring and educating. And so we run a film club in Tanzania called Nafasi Film Club. And it's just an exciting initiative because we get people who are completely new to cinema and just want to tell stories. So artists, and the way they tell their stories now, we feel like is going to be at the forefront of cinema in Africa. Like, it's just what we believe.
And Tanzania is such a big country when it comes to film because they are the biggest in East Africa. But now enough about that. Let's talk about your film, Katope. How are you feeling now that you're at the red carpet of a film that you're a part of, courtesy of Netflix?
So I'm feeling really good. Mostly to be done, and it's out here so everybody can see it. I'm super just proud of how everybody worked really hard to make this film. We spent a lot of time in Nzali, which is where Katope was made. It's a village in Dodoma. And the people there hopefully will also see this film, or will somehow get the film out there so they can see it exactly, but also just feel empowerment with their culture, which, you know, it's a smaller culture that not a lot of people know. So yeah, I feel really good about it.
Let me tell you, I'm super excited because I'm standing right next to one of the filmmakers right here. His name is Lukman Ali, all the way from Uganda.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
We're super excited to have you. I want you to start by teaching me a greeting in Uganda, whether it's Luganda or the language that you know.
Well, I only know Luganda. It's we say Oliotia.
That's Oliote?
Yeah, Oliotia.
Oliote?
You say JND.
JND. Okay, now you greet me and then I'll respond.
Oliotia.
JND. Oh, absolutely amazing. You should take me to Uganda. Now let's talk about your personal journey, because you started as a sketch artist and now you have a film on Netflix. Come on, how do you feel?
I feel great. It was a very interesting experience, all the way from being a sketch artist, graphics designer, 3D animator, now making films. That's fantastic, yeah.
Do you feel like that gave you a cutting edge because you started at the foundation level of it all?
Yeah, but also I went into drawing for the love of cinema. As when I was growing up, we only had like 2 channels, and the 2 channels only had films like on Saturdays. So every time I would watch a movie I'll draw the scenes as a way of revisiting the scenes that I watched. Yeah, so it was also kind of like, in a way, a method to like make my own films. Yeah, so it kind of gives me an edge now because I do my own storyboards, I design my own posters, I can do my own VFX. I didn't do my own VFX on this one, but yeah, but I could.
But I believe your story is appreciating a product of the process and the whole journey in general. But let's talk about your film that's going to be launching today, Katera of the Punishment Island. My goodness, tell me about it. Hint, hint, kidogo.
It's like an African Western. Yeah, it's about this girl that's thrown on this island called the Punishment Island, an island that we actually had in Western Uganda, where they would take pregnant girls that would get pregnant out of wedlock. They would throw them there and leave them to die. So this is a story of the one that kind of like survives and and comes back for the system. Yeah.
Hold the knife. You focus.
Bringing knives to a gunfight? Age.
I'm standing right next to the best dressed person in the room right now because drip is dripping, man, all the way from Eastern Cape, South Africa. How you doing, G?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's talk about your drip first of all. Drip is dripping, it's giving.
Thank you. It's by Neo Serati, a South African designer. Yeah,
absolutely amazing. I consume a lot of South African content, but I would have massacred your name if I introduced you, so I'd love you to say it yourself.
My name is Tobisa, but everyone calls me G, so it's really okay. It's really okay.
Fantastic. At only the age of 26G, you have a film that's premiering on Netflix, Mam Lamo. Take me through that.
Well, I just turned 27 in February, so I'm 27 now. Take you through my film. My film is about two women, because I love women. I think we are the best species on earth. And it's really about a relationship, about something they relate to, something I feel like doesn't get much attention in a silent and sensitive way. So my approach was kind of that, to kind of depict a more or rather unique perspective in the experience of what women go through.
You have a background, rather an undergrad in psychology. Now, now tell me a bit about that and how film got into the perspective.
So I have an undergraduate in psychology and philosophy, but while I was in university, there was, in South Africa we had something called FISMAS 4, right? And there were a lot of cameras, there was a lot of press, but it felt like our experiences weren't really depicted or actually given much justice when it was spoken about. So that was kind of like, what I don't know what I can call it, but like, that was I don't know, it was a defining moment of like me wanting to show a more honest and real perspective about South African people, South African stories, and I suppose black people in general, and just being able to explore the different experiences and what those look like and sharing that with the rest of the world. Yeah.
I feel like your background actually laid a foundation in how you created this particular film.
Absolutely. I think the thing about psychology is that it's about people, and I work in an industry with a lot of people. I mean, filmmaking is a bunch of different teams, and being a writer and director means you need to be sensitive about that and to sensitive about the stories that you tell. So it plays I think it's a wonderful foundation. Yeah.
Right, there was a friend of mine who was telling me that in South Africa, when you want to say something is fun, because I believe your film is super fun, you say Humunati. So I want you to tell me, in Eastern Cape in South Africa, how do you say it's fun?
Kumnandi.
Kumnandi. Now you have to say to the
I mean, kumnandi.
Right about now, I have my fellow Muslim sister. Her name is Korede Aziz, all the way from Nigeria. Sonu?
Yo, Sonu.
She actually taught me that, and I hope I did you proud.
Yeah, you did.
Awesome. But now you have a film that's going to be premiering on Netflix today. How do you feel first? Do you have any jitters, any butterflies?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm nervous, but I'm also very excited. and I think those things can be a really good combination sometimes. So yeah.
If I take a look at your background, you have a couple of films. Let's take a look at two. One is Tip of the Edge, was about it was about a woman who was going through mental health problems. There's also another film that you've done about a nurse, about COVID and all of that. So is mental health such a big aspect of your life, and why do you choose to approach it in your films?
The truth is, I think those stories just came to me at that time, you know, and I find that sometimes at different stages of my life, depending on what it is that I'm interested in or the things that are happening around me, I'm most likely going to want to talk about those topics, even if they're not exactly connected directly to me, you know, because I am one person who I'm interested in so many different things, and I try to think of myself as a problem solver, you know, and sometimes if you don't have the right solution to a problem, at least talk about it.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Because awareness is part of creating a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
All right, now you have your film that's going to be premiering tonight right here in Kenya, courtesy of Netflix. Tell us a bit about the experience behind creating this particular film.
It was very hectic.
Why is that?
Because, I mean, when you're working on a project of this scale, there's a lot of that pressure. You don't want to disappoint, you know, you want to deliver. So there was that pressure. But it was also such a learning experience. Like, I mean, I'm not sure I could have learned as much as I did within such a short period of time if I wasn't working on a platform as big. You know, so yeah, I learned a lot.
This is such a huge platform, and you've told me this is your first time in Kenya. When you touched down, when you landed, you're in your hotel room. Who was the first person you called back at home to tell them how your experience was like?
I didn't call anyone, I just went straight to bed.
But even in the morning?
Yeah, in the morning I called my mom.
How did she feel about it? And she must be very proud of you.
Oh yeah, she is. She's very excited about it. She's always been, right from day one.
My love for horror and monsters came from my grandma, and she used to tell me this folk tales amongst others. And at the time when I saw the call for the folk tales reimagined, I didn't have a platform locally to like tell stories about monsters or stories that were told to me when I was young. So I thought she was going to be a good opportunity to do that, to just pass on the oral narratives that today is a platform like Netflix.
What's wrong with you? Sit down.
Otis, sit. You don't want to make your dad angry.
You promised. You promised we'd leave.
Now I'm standing in the presence of greatness. I have a very good friend of mine here. His name is Ernesto. He is the Assistant Director General for Culture at UNESCO. How are you doing, Ernesto?
Very well, thank you.
How are you feeling this evening, especially as part of the creation or as part of the people who came up with such a great initiative for the African culture?
Well, you can imagine we have been waiting 2 years. So finally we see the baby. And what is most important is that we can share the result of 2 years of our work with the creative young filmmakers that are showing for the first time publicly and in more than 180 countries at the same time.
What were you thinking about when you were thinking about being a part of this particular project and selecting the creatives from the different countries?
Well, you know, you have to know that first what we did is what organization like ours in the UN system does. We did a report for more than 1 year of mapping all the audiovisual industry in Africa, in the 54 countries of the continent. And then we wanted to see how we can somehow showcase what was in the report, what was this creativity, this possibility, this hope of a new industry that can be built, that is existing in Africa, but how we can tell stories that we have been heard by our grandmother, grandfathers to become alive. And that was the most important challenge.
You've watched all the 6 films, and if you were to describe them to someone who hasn't watched them for the first time, how would you describe them to it?
All stories are talking about women. And that's, yes.
Interesting. Even the ones written by men.
Completely, or filmed by men. And maybe that will also showcase how important are women in Africa and how important it is to tell the stories about them and how they can be transformative for the whole continent. And then it's important to understand that each film is very different. It showcases that Africa is one continent, but with a lot of diversity between countries and identities. We work with young filmmakers. Some of them have never worked professionally. They had done some other project on YouTube or in other platforms. So that's something that will also allow to showcase how that everything is possible at the end. If you find the right place, the right people to bring all this talent to the surface.
Well, unfortunately, that's where we wrap it up on Teen Republic. It is the Hangout. Be sure to let us know where you want us to hang out next. We've gotten to witness the best of the best when it comes to African folktales. They have been reimagined in 6 different ways from 6 different African countries. Until next time, adios.